Learning activity exercise. Find a former or current OFW overseas Filipino worker to be interviewed. Your respondent's name should not be revealed in class. Protect the person's identity and ensure anonymity. Through this activity, you should be able to gain a first-hand knowledge of the experience of OFWs, people who obviously reach other countries. Their story could provide a concrete understanding of how globalization affects themselves, their families, and the country. This is my answer. I have a relative which is my auntie who worked as an OFW. On my interview, she said that she's been working there for 5 years and working there for the sake of the families, especially she's the only one who support her family to give them good life. While working as an OFW, she described it as not really good but at least better than before. Also, the most unforgettable experience and moment while staying there, of course, working with her employer. Those memories she can't forget the way they treated her there bad and good. As she compared the Philippines with other countries, she said that she loved them both because Philippines is her country and have a lot of different places to go and culture to know. I asked her if she want to go back abroad or to other countries in the future, and she said that if ever she have done there, if still have a chance to come back there, of course she will grab again the opportunity because states she can say a second place or home for her. And lastly, she said that OFW are the best hero of the country, bread and butter in each of the family. All the sacrifices and work built for their own family. Assignment. Choose 10 factors from the classification of migration based on space in your module and present a video presentation of yourself starting the example based on your personal knowledge. Include also your own opinion and ideas about it. This is my answer. One is international migration. International migration is a key labor market option in many developing countries. It is the movement of people across international borders for the purpose of settlement. The United Nations suggests that the degree of permanence of the migration should be measured over a 12 months period. For example, when passengers arrive in a country, they are asked whether they intend to stay for less than 3 months, classifying them as visitors. For between 3 months and 12 months, classifying them as a short-term migrants, or for 12 months or more, classifying them as a long-term migrants. This is prospective measurements of migration. Alternatively, people can be surveyed at their current place of residence and asked where they were lived 12 months ago. If the answer is another country, then they are classified as international migrants. Two is interstate migration. Interstate migration specifically refers to the movement of people over a state of territory boundary involving a change in their place of usual residence. Interstate migration is developing countries is a key income generating strategy for low-income households. In India, despite the importance of migration between states, interstate migrants continue to face significant integration barriers in their destination states. The impact of state borders on migration within India is significant and large. 3 is rural-rural migration. Globally, rural-urban migration has been the focus in addressing the question of availability of health workers in rural areas. The rural-rural migration of health workers, another important dimension, is neglected. For example, while addressing rural-urban migration, attention should be paid also to the rural-rural migration of the health workers. Addressing the migration of health workers is a multi-dimensional issue that needs the engagement of all stakeholders within the beyond the health sector. 4 is rural-urban migration. Rural-urban migration is the movement of people from countryside to city areas. For example, rural to urban migrants typically find better job opportunities in destination cities because they pay higher salaries than available in their home regions. 5 is urban-urban migration. It can be defined as movement of people from one urban area to another urban area. This is similar to rural-urban migration because here people move from urbanized towns to major urban centers. For example, securing better employment opportunities, better facilities, or a better standard of living. 6 is urban-rural migration. It is when urbanities move to rural areas. This happens when people get disgusted with the industrial and very busy schedule of urban life and want to move in search of people. For example, settle in farming village and engage in agriculture through training, counseling, information provision, and experience programs with the aim to improve agriculture labor and promote the local economy. 7 is periodic or seasonal migration. Periodic or seasonal migration is the movement of people from one place of another on seasonal basis. For example, migration such as moving sheep or cattle to higher elevation during summer to escape the heat and find more forage. Human labor often moves with fruit harvest or to other crops that require manual picking. It is semi-permanent migration. This type of migration, people do not settle permanently because they have some of other families members living at the place of origin. For example, semi-permanent residence would be the seasonal movement of migrant from laborers. People can either choose to move voluntary migration or be forced to move a voluntary migration. 9 is temporary migration. Temporary migration is migration to a country that is not intended to be permanent for a specified unlimited period of time and usually undertaken for a specific purpose. For example, journey for business, visit to fair and place of pilgrimage, etc. Then is casual migration. Casual migration is when individuals are forced to leave their homes due to an emergency or other circumstances. For example, people move to their relative's house or neighboring village for short duration and return back when things are back to normal. Learning activities. Instruction. Refer to the carbon footprint in your module. There are 10 causes of carbon footprint. Present in a video presentation of yourself as a news reporter at least one specific example of each of the 10 effects and provide solution for each of the effects. The effects of population growth and increase in consumption levels is global warming. The solution is we should save energy at home. Much of our electricity and heat is powered by coal, oil and gas. Use less energy by lowering your heating and cooling, switching to LED light bulbs and energy efficient electric appliances. Washing your laundry with cold water or hanging things to dry instead of using a dryer. 2 is the effects of increase in living standard is air pollution. The solution of air pollution is driving less in favor of public transportation. Biking or walking helps decrease air pollution. Also, using cars with increased fuel efficiency or electric cars that do not rely on fossil fuels can decrease the amount of pollution we are contributing to the atmosphere. Number 3, the effects of increase in energy consumption is acid rain. The solution is a great way to reduce acid rain is to produce energy without using fossil fuels. Instead, people can use renewable energy sources such as solar and wind power. Renewable energy sources help reduce acid rain because they produce much less pollution. Number 4, the effects of deforestation is effects on humans. Solution. Save water. Some simple steps can go a long way in saving water like turning off the tap when you are brushing your teeth or showering. Number 5 is the effects of industrial process is effects on animals. The solution is recovering endangered species. We go beyond saving species from extinction to the recovering them so they are not longer dependent on conservation actions. 6 is the effects of agriculture is effects on plants. The solution is nutrients. Solution is a mix of concentrated minerals that plants need to grow. This solution is mixed with water and then the water is given to the plant. but finding and balancing the right nutrients can be tricky for beginner hydroponic farmers. The effects of vehicles is effects on aquatic life. Solution: single-use plastic such as non-reusable water bottles, take-out packaging, plastic bags, and straw pollute or ocean and can destroy ecosystems and endanger marine life. It is the effects of airplanes is effects on the whole environmental system. The solution is moving away from fossil fuels, replacing them with sustainable renewables like solar, geothermal, and wind, and producing clean energy. 9 is the effect of ships is oil pollution. Solution is if a crew can reach a spill in a few hours, they can aim to contain and skim the oil. Containment and skimming is done by mechanical means such as using booms and skimmers. Booms are floating physical barriers that stop the oil spreading, and skimmers, modified boats, skim the oil off the top of the water. The 10 is the effects of waste disposal is water pollution. The solution is to help reduce the amount of plastic waste that gets cycled into the environment. It's recommended that you avoid using plastic whenever possible. Seek alternatives for plastic bottles, plastic utensils, and straws. Whenever you use plastic, make sure that you recycle. Answer. First is eliminate poverty. President Rodrigo Duterte, in his budget message for the fiscal year 2017, even argued the judiciary and the Congress to act in implementing programs necessary for the poor. Mr. Duterte said they aim to reduce poverty levels by 1.25 and 1.5% yearly to end with a 16 and 17% rate by 2022, considerable lower than the 26.3% rate recorded as in June 2015, while supporting economic growth of 7 and 8%. Second is erase hunger. The Erase Hunger Bill, also known as the Right to Adequate Food Bill, was filed by Sen. Coco Pimentel last June 30 in the Senate as one of his priority bills. The bill has been docketed as Senate Bill number 111 that same day. A similar bill, House Bill number 61, was filed in the House of Representatives by REP Carlo Alexi Nograles and his brother REP Jericho Jonas Nograles, also as one of their priority bills. One the bill, one pass will mandate the government to establish a clear set of policy targets to end hunger in the Philippines within 10 years. The bill thus will make food not just a charity issue but a legal entitlement by adopting a comprehensive rights-based legal framework for food programs using a whole of government approach. The third is establish good health and well-being. Duterte advocated for the expedient implementation of progressive policies such as the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Law. According to Duterte, this is aimed at empowering the Filipino families, especially the poor, to have freedom of informed choice on their preferred number and spacing of children. He lobbied for universal health care through PhilHealth, which will equalize and broaden access to quality health services. Furthermore, he called for genuine tax reform, which would entail lowering income and corporate taxes. 4 is provide quality education. President Duterte has decided to support the Keto 12 program after being initially skeptical about it given the criticism from some sectors, but incoming Education Secretary Leonor Briones said Duterte's concerns now are mainly the students who are still out of school and college teacher who might be displaced because of Keto 12's senior high. 5 is enforce gender equality. The Duterte administration wants to ensure that women will land not only in social service related agencies but also to ensure that the voice of women would be heard even in other offices in the economic and infrastructure clusters. Davao, as cited by Pia Cayetano, as being the only local government unit said to have advanced gender-sensitive governance with policies like the Women Development Code of 2003 that uphold the rights of women and the belief in their worth and dignity as human beings. The sixth is growth, affordable, and clean energy. The DOA's statement in turn quoted its head, Energy Secretary Alfonso G. Cosi, as saying, while we signed the Paris Agreement last year, committing ourselves to limit our carbon emissions, we cannot ignore the fact that our level of economic development at this point does not allow us to rely completely on renewable energy sources or clean energy. President Duterte is correct in saying that the country is still in the process of industrialization. We must therefore use whatever energy resources are available and affordable for power generation. Mr. Kosi also said, 7 is create decent work and economic growth. Economic growth also greatly depends on the nation's workforce. That is why President Duterte vowed to end of contract. Unsurprisingly, some of the country's biggest business groups are supporting President Duterte's aggressive drives against the Indo scheme but are cautioning against backlash if the campaign would unintentionally cover legitimate practice under contractualization. 8 is increased industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Public infrastructure spending will be in the neighborhood of 7 trillion pesos from 2017 until 2022. The Department of Budget and Management (DBM) said the goal of higher spending for public infrastructure is to make up for past neglect, create decent jobs, modernize the crumbling public infrastructure, and propel the economy to a higher and sustainable growth path. 9 is develop life below water. The Duterte government will harness what previous administrations have failed to tap blue economy or the ocean and marine resources, which have the potential to generate at least 1 trillion pesos. As we are aware, the President already released the order to reduce the number or destroy numerous fish pens in Laguna. This action will provide decent income to our ordinary fishermen. 10 is advise life on land. Duterte said he would pursue land reform differently by prioritizing the provision of support service alongside land distribution to farmers. He would also push for irrigation services to be given to farmers free of charge. At present, farmers pay irrigation fee to the National Irrigation Administration or NIA. Fees they aren't able to pay accumulate as they the implementation of the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program extension with Reform Carper was a failure, said Duterte, because farmers lack the capability and resources to make their land productive.